To wrap up, I'd love to kind of get your guys' perspective on how retail changed over the last 3 years. If I think about the last 10 years, there was this discussion about, oh, retail is dead. D2C is going to intermediate the middlemen. It's all going to go away. And that kind of happened a little bit, but then retail came back, and then COVID happened, and it felt like it fell off the cliff for a bit. But now it seems that the pendulum has swung from D2C over to retail.
Yeah.
How do you guys see the last 3 years, and what do you think the next 3 years look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can take the first stab at it. I think, to retail's credit, I think they've done a lot of things to try and match, again, that quote unquote endless shelf experience. So and I think COVID actually did really help that resurgence because everyone was trapped in the house for a year and a half. I probably had an Amazon package at my door like every day for a year. I'm sure my husband was like, there's nothing left in the world to buy. And so I think a lot of people wanted to get back out into the world and have that shopping experience. But again, a lot of retailers that we see are really trying to replicate, again, that online experience. Again, I know I keep harping on Walmart, but just to give you guys an example. So Walmart recently introduced a program, they call it Item Swap or Quick Mods. And basically, so this is slightly scary if you guys are thinking about going into retail, more things to think about. But before, when you pitch to Walmart and let's say you got the business, generally speaking, your business was pretty protected for usually about a year, right? So you'd go in, you pitch your goods, Walmart's, sure, I'll have you in my stores for a year. Awesome. But Walmart has recently introduced, again, Item Swap Quick Mods, where they're actually able to swap products out with essentially almost no notice to you. So they can usually, I think, give you about about a month's notice, but then after that, you're off shelf. The idea behind it is that it's supposed to allow them to capture more viral trends. So obviously, we all know I am also shamelessly on TikTok way too much. But as suddenly this product ABC is super popular on TikTok, before Walmart really wouldn't be able to capture that because, again, your space on the shelf is just there. Now, again, in service of customers, they're trying to say, hey, this product is really trending on TikTok. This lipstick is this other lipstick that is not moving as fast. You're out now, and we want to make place for this brand new viral item. So from a Walmart perspective, huge win. Obviously, they're capturing that sale. From a customer, honestly, from a customer perspective, huge win too, because now I can go to a Walmart and pick up whatever I want. From the supplier perspective, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, because again, that inventory that you thought would sustain you, or you'd have whatever it is for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you can now get kicked out with 1 month. So again, talking about that exit strategy that we talked about earlier. So yeah, not to be a doomsday, but only to say, I think brick and mortar is, again, they're evolving to try and match the speed of online.
It also presents a bit of an opportunity, right? If they're swapping somebody out, it means they're swapping somebody in. What are you seeing brands do to make sure that they're top of mind? Because it seems so much, hey, I've got a broker, they're working for a year to just get that meeting, and maybe it's a sales cycle or line review twice a year, and then you're finally in there, and then they're going to swap you out after a quarter. Like, how do you make sure you're top of mind so that when something does go viral, or you're successful in driving traffic to your D2C site, you're able to, hey, break me in now?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I love that we're making this like a full circle discussion, because it's back to what we were talking about earlier. It's just making sure that you are the dominant voice in the brand, in the category, whatever it is, and really investing. Like it or not, social media is really driving a lot of kind of product adoption. And so making sure that you have a presence on social media to be present, be top of mind, and all that good stuff. And I think too, kind of something that's interesting is I have worked with a lot of brands that started as e-commerce only. They leverage that data with the Walmart and with the Targets of the world to say, hey, on average, we are selling, what are my units, quote unquote, units per store per week? What is the unit velocity? What are the margins? I think the cool thing about e-commerce is you can capture a lot of like demographic data that you miss in brick and mortar. So even being able to understand and share demographic information, we tend to do really well with this age group in this area of the country, whatever it is. A lot of these brick and mortar stores will actually trait their stores, and you can be very strategic. We talked about inventory planning, even about what stores you should be in. The joke we like to do is if you are a scuba or snorkel type seller, don't trade or don't recommend your products to be in Arkansas. That doesn't really make sense. But you can utilize that data in a really smart way to be strategic, to not have so much a huge capital outlay, make sure you're maximizing your impact at the stores that you choose to be in, and really utilize e-commerce, I think, to your advantage. And Jessica, if you add to that.
Yeah, I was going to just add, I think just coming out of the world of COVID from like a supply chain perspective, it's also the lead time in which you can actually react and create new products, and making sure you're investing in domestic distribution centers and production. If you're able to produce here, we saw what happened during COVID and internationally trying to get product over here, and the ports being congested and factories shutting down because of COVID restrictions and guidelines. And I think a lot of companies have really seen, okay, let's open up a factory here. Let's cut the lead time down in half. Let's be able to react. And we saw this trend happening. Let's see if we could produce a new product and get it on shelf quickly, because we want to service that retailer and that new customer in a way that we never have before. And I think it just is really a great way to be able to be more agile within the world of supply chain, to be able to say, hey, we can ship this now and produce it, get it out in 3 months versus in a year. Like, it's something that I think we're forced to do now, and that the world of supply chain and these D2C brands need to think about if they're really looking to invest in the world of retail and think about how they can react quickly.